Okay guys, we're out in the garage again today, and I've got my 2003 Kia Sedona up on jack stands. I've just got through jacking it up, and so I've taken the wheels off and I've pulled off the inner liner so I can get to the rack and pinion lines. I've got one of my lines leaking on my rack and pinion. I'm going to take you underneath there and show you the line, and then I'm going to put some fluid into the power steering tank up here, right up here. I'm going to put a little bit in here because I can't really tell which one of those lines is leaking. It looks as though the low pressure line might be leaking, but that doesn't make sense to me, but it could be. And but I can't tell whether maybe it's leaking from the upper line. But anyway, it's a pretty good leak. So just putting some fluid in the tank, I'm hoping, is going to let the fluid gravity feed down there. And I'm going to go ahead and set the camera up down there and see if I can record that. So I'll just let the camera go along with me, and just let you guys know that I'm going to get underneath there and set this up to film that leak. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be doing. Okay, using my new GoPro camera for this. This is one of my first videos for my GoPro, so this is what we're looking at now, instead of all that old terrible sound and all the other stuff. Now we can get some nice sharp pictures on what we're working on. I've got some lights set up underneath here, so I'm going to go ahead and get the camera underneath and get on top and put the fluid in like I said. And so now just hang with me while I get this camera. I might wind up editing all this out of there because I don't see any reason why I have to drag you guys through all of this. But while I'm getting set up, you're gonna have to bear with me. Okay, now I think that is gonna put me right underneath there. So now I'm going to pan up, point the camera up, and see if that will show me that leak. Gonna have to tighten that or it's not gonna stay there. But I think you can see now where I'm going to be working. The leak is right here where my finger is. Let me see if I can point. I think this is where the leak is, right here where my finger's at. But I'll just have to see. Got something on my screen I'm trying to get off. Okay. Okay, now I know we can see it. I'm going to get underneath there a little further. There we go. I'm going to be pointing to that spot right there. I see a little drop right there right now where my finger is. A little drop of fluid. So I'm going to go put some in there. Hopefully I can catch it. See where it's coming out at. Just hang with me. Hard to do all this with one arm. I'm still working with I'm supposed to have that big sling on to put on my arm after surgery, but I haven't worn that for a week. And I'm crawling up and down underneath this car and changing starters and power steering pumps and now power steering hose, and hopefully not a rack and pinion. I hope not for that. Oh man, I hope not. But it could be my rack and pinions leaking. We're going to find out here in just a minute. Gotta put some fluid, I gotta waste it. But I'm gonna catch it. It's all clean, so I'm gonna put a little bit in here up to the minimum line, then maybe I can see where that's leaking out at. I see that one drop right there, but I don't see any more forming. right there. I'm going to keep it wiped off a little so I can catch it when it really does start pouring out of there. If it does, and it has been leaking pretty good, so I expect to be able to see this leaking right now without having to start the power steering pump. Maybe I could turn the wheel and down for it. There it is right there. There she is. She's busted right here in the corner. This pipe right there. I see it. Okay, so that's my low pressure hose. That means that I can save a little money on this deal. I can go ahead and go ahead and break that loose, and then I'll just cut that part right there that's out, and I'll put a nipple or a union there, a nipple inside here, and then cut another piece of hose and tie into that. That way I won't have to, because that's low pressure hose anyway. I might just replace the whole hose up there where I can tie it in real easy, but that'd be a lot of work. Not really though, because there's a spot right there. Let me show you real quick. I see a spot right there. There's a spot right there that has squeeze on clamp like this right here. I can just take it off right there, slide this off, cut this pipe right back here once I get it off, and then man, talk about an easy, cheap fix. I got some hose. I keep this hose in stock around the garage all the time. Okay, man. Woo, I'm glad of that. Boy, that's a relief. Let me watch that thing leak a little bit more so I can just spot it. Man, that makes me feel so good to know that this is not going to be crazy expensive. Man. All right then. So that's the top line on the gear up there. So get around here, and that's just right there. I'll pop that off real quick, pull it off over there, on that other side over there. This might turn out okay. Don't like to get too excited too quick. But I'm going to tell you a story that you'll hear me say on my site all the time, preaching to the novices, the beginners. I say, don't throw parts at something. I mean, you're going to hear me say that 1,000 times, over and over and over. I preach it over and over and over. Like I just can't say it enough. But what did I do this time? My wife came home and she said, oh, I was out in the van and all of a sudden it made this graveling type noise and all, and so I just turned the car off and I said, oh wow, maybe the power steering pump bearings finally went out, so I'm going to need to change those, you know. And so it was terrible weather, my arm was hurt. I went ahead and ordered the power steering pump. It got in here, I changed it, and what do you think happened? It wasn't the power steering pump. I knew when I took that power steering pump off and looked at it that it wasn't the power steering pump. The bearings were perfect. There was no noise. And then I looked under the car and there was a puddle of power steering fluid on the ground, and I realized that I had a leak. And then I looked over here and saw where it was coming from, but I didn't know what it was yet. I needed to get it jacked up, to get the wheels off, pull off these covers on the inside so I can see what I'm looking at, and I could have found it, and then it would have cost me nothing. Just a little section of hose, but I spent instead, $115 and plus $22 to get it shipped here a couple of days early. And so I threw parts at something instead of getting under and inspecting it. So this should be a good lesson for all of you. But now I've got an extra power steering pump on it. That power steering pump has been on this truck for as long as I've had it, since 2003, 2006 I think. And so that's a long time for the pump to be on, but it was a good one. So I'm going to put it on the shelf. I'm going to clean it out, put it on the shelf, and if this one goes out, then I'll have an extra one, But I'll never throw parts at something again. But I did it only because my arm was in that. I just had the operation. I hadn't even had it yet, and I didn't know when I was going to get to fixing this thing, and so I threw a part at it. But there you go. So now I'm just going to, like I said, take off that line and just go ahead and change that little piece of hose, cut that pipe off where it's broken. Now, let me see. I know you can't see me, I see what I'm doing, but I'm right inside this, right behind here, where this pipe goes over that cross member and ties into the steering column here. I'm going to try to get the camera set up in here where you can see this, and then take this off. I'll get you a shot of it right now while I got the light on it, and then you will know what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be taking, excuse the camera moving. I've got this camera, it's got a good stabilizer on it, so you shouldn't be getting too much interference there. Let me close my gimbal legs here. I'm probably going to edit that out. But anyway, what you're looking at right there, that's where the banjo bolts are for the lines coming onto the steering column. I know you can see that. I'll try to get it in there a little better. There they are right there. Oh boy, this is so hard to get, you know. Let me see, maybe I can get a better shot. Over here. No. I gotta take this microphone off. That's what's doing, it's in my way. Microphone is just too big. Unplug it completely. You're going to see a change in my voice because I got to get that microphone off of here. Okay, there's the two banjo bolts that I'm going to be working on. It's the top one with the low pressure line on it. I'm just going to undo it right there. Then I'm going to take that clamp off I showed you further up back there, pull that whole part off, cut that little elbow off where it's leaking, and push the hose back on, and then that'll be it. I guarantee you that's going to take care of that. Boy, I'm so glad. That could have been so much more expensive. Well, there's no use in me showing you that. I'll show you when I get it all back together and that the leak's fixed. But as far as taking it apart and getting all that off, you know what I'm doing. So I'll just stop the video here so we don't waste time and I don't run down my battery completely. GoPro, stop recording.